Without further ado, let's get started with Francesca's biography. Um, so, since 2006, Francesca has been a dynamic force in the Bay Area, dedicated to dismantling racial and gender inequities and fostering environments rooted in social impact and community empowerment. Her journey from a passionate volunteer to an executive leader in nonprofit operations and programs showcases her unwavering commitment to advocacy and equity. With hands-on experience, she has expertly built, sustained, and expanded a diverse array of programs, from grassroots initiatives to national service models, all while deftly operationalizing organizational strategy and vision. Francesca's advocacy roots run deep, beginning in her childhood as a foster youth. At just 15, she stood before the Senate in Washington, D.C., championing the rights of foster youth. This early experience ignited a lifelong dedication to advocacy, leading her work with numerous mission-driven organizations across the Bay Area. Her efforts have shaped trauma-enforced programs in youth development, childhood education, food justice, LGBTQ+ services, senior care, and workforce development. Throughout her career, Francesca achieved remarkable milestones, spearheading significant initiatives that have driven regional growth and strategic expansion for leading organizations. She has developed impactful educational programs for at-risk youth, introduced innovative models to public school systems, and created frameworks for workforce readiness. Francesca also launched pioneering community services, including the nation's first LGBTQ+ community-based adult day program, and has been instrumental in securing substantial funding throughout her experience in grant writing and event management. Her visionary leadership and strategic acumen have consistently led to the development and implementation of programs that address critical community needs and drive meaningful social change. In addition to her extensive work, Francesca recently became a Foster America Fellow and is now a member of the National Leadership Advisory Group, contributing to national conversations and strategies aimed at improving the foster care system. Residing in Daly City with her 2 children, 2 cats, and a dog, Francesca balances her professional achievements with a fulfilling personal life. In her free time, she enjoys exploring the beach, hiking, practicing yoga, gardening, and dancing to live music. Francesca's dedication to her community and her passion for social justice continue to inspire and drive her. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to you, Francesca.
Thank you so much. Hi, y'all. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm very excited to be here, and honestly, I'm very honored to be here to share this space with you and to share the incredible work that we're doing at Freedom Forward and at Hype Center. And so I will go ahead and start to share my screen. I have a little slide deck put together and then a little video to show y'all at the end. But yes, I am Francesca. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the ED of Freedom Forward. So let me share screen. Okay, can everyone see my screen? I'm hoping. Great, awesome. Okay, so Freedom Forward. Who are we and what do we do? So first I want to give actually an overview of what is commercial sexual exploitation. And so commercial sexual exploitation is defined as any sexual activity involving a young person in exchange of something of value. And it disproportionately affects Black, Indigenous, and other youth of color, LGBTQ identifying youth, youth who have experienced homelessness, and youth involved in foster care and or probation systems. And so at Freedom Forward, our mission is to collaborate with young people across the Bay Area, ages 14 to 24, to transform the systems and prevent their exploitation. And we do this by enabling young people to have agency over their bodies, their relationships, their lives, and their choices, and ultimately helping them live free from exploitation. And so we do this through our 4 pillars of reducing exploitation. And so we have 4 different initiatives that we work with at Freedom Forward. And so for our prevention model, we have our Hype Center. For awareness, we have our I Am Jasmine Strong campaign. And this provides resources for youth, for educators, parents, and caregivers to prevent, recognize, intervene, and heal from exploitation. Our intervention model is FAM. This stands for Family and Me, and it is a foster care model that is designed for youth experiencing or at risk of exploitation. And FAM aims to strengthen foster families by providing training, support to caregivers, access to flexible discretionary funds, and a dedicated alternative care provider who offers mentorship and a safe place to stay for short periods of time. And whenever possible, the youth's family and natural supports are included in their FAM. So it's a really beautiful model that naturally builds out the village that most foster youth just don't have. And then finally, for survivor support, we just initiated this year. I'm very proud of this one. I'm proud of all of our work, but especially this one. And it is a supplemental, it's a survivor supplemental income pilot. And so this is a one-of-a-kind pilot for the city and county of San Francisco, and I think even throughout the state of California. It's aimed at providing financial support to survivors of sexual exploitation who are aging out of foster care or who have already aged out of foster care. And we're offering them a $500 supplemental income per month for 1 year. And this is a no strings attached, income pilot where the money just gets directly deposited into the young people's accounts at the first of the month. And it's been really incredible. They've been engaging in the Hype Center and engaging in our resources and services. And so this is really a way to give financial security that's needed to help rebuild the futures and to help them pursue their goals. Today, to really focus on what we do at Hype, this is some folks might recognize this from our flyers and our posters that we have around, but we really believe that access to opportunities, meeting basic needs, and creating a safe space to belong are key in preventing the vulnerabilities that lead to exploitation. And so rather than recreating existing services, we really focus on bringing in community providers that offer a variety of services in one safe space. And so this is what's on the screen right now is our youth facing flyer. And so you'll see that we are open to all Bay Area youth. We serve all Bay Area counties. A young person can be living anywhere in any of these counties as long as they want to have services in San Francisco. They can become a Hype member. This is a variety of what members can access. So anything from our community partners to our self-service areas, really, again, embedding that sense of agency and choice in our space. And then, of course, our basic resources. So at Hype, we not only co-locate all these partners and resources, we have on-site laundry, shower, and a clothing boutique. And the clothing boutique is incredible. We have not only clothes, we have shoes, accessories, makeup products, hygiene products, new parent products for babies, backpacks and school supplies. So really it's an opportunity for young people to come in and shop and really regain a sense of, dignity and humanity. That's one thing at Hype Center that we believe in very strongly is that no interaction should be transactional or exploitative. And so we believe in treating young people with dignity and respect as a birthright, that there's not some type of, you need to do this in order to get that. When young people enter into our space, we are not forcing them to do anything. We don't, demand that they participate in anything that we're offering. We just allow them to be. And we've noticed that throughout time, especially those that are just coming in because they just want a safe space or because they, need a place to crash because they don't want to sleep in the shelters, that once they start coming and they see that we're not, forcing them really to do anything, that they naturally actually start to engage in the different services and resources that we have on site. So it's really been a beautiful thing to watch as these young people really grow in their own autonomy and agency. And just to highlight, we are open Monday through Friday from 10 to 7. And our address is 198 Potrero Avenue. So we're right at the corner of 15th and Potrero. We are technically a neutral zone, so it is a safe space for all. So just want to highlight that. We also have 2 phone numbers here. One is a call line and the other one is a text. And we do answer our phone and answer our voicemails too. So next, I do want to share a little bit of data. I kind of want to ground us in, why does Hype exist? What is exploitation? Is it really something that is prevalent in San Francisco? and unfortunately it is. So right now, and this data that I'm showing you is it's a quarterly data report that's put together by our CSEC coordination team here in the city and county of San Francisco in collaboration with juvenile justice and probation. And these cases are going to be mainly the ones that are the total active CSEC cases right here. We have 87 right now in the city and county of San Francisco. And let me be very clear that these are only cases that are reported. So it is very safe to say that there is an extraordinary, amount of young people who are experiencing exploitation and sex trafficking, but unfortunately we don't have the data on them. And there's a variety of reasons for that. Anywhere from, shaming and blaming survivors and victims of exploitation to absolute fear driven by the exploiter to not tell anyone and not say anything, or else danger and harm, will be brought on them and their families. So this is the data around CSEC is actually really difficult to gather and to capture and to ensure that it's properly recorded. But at least here we know that we have 44 youth that are identified by child welfare. We have 48 that were identified by Huckleberry Heart. They are an incredible partner and they are the city's response for young folks who are actively being trafficked or exploited. They will support young people through the process. And then 8 young people identified by juvenile probation. I also want to highlight the demographics here. So our age range, 11 to 20, with the majority of them being 17 and 18 years old. But I really want to highlight that 11. So those of us that work with young ones or are connected to any organizations that work with the littles in middle school, grooming and the start of exploitation starts as early as 11 years old. And so we all really need to be aware of, how it shows up, what it looks like, and then how to, obviously, prevent and intervene. And then you'll also see, as as I mentioned earlier, we have a disproportionate, amount of Black identified young people, and then is also Central American. So we are seeing a big influx of Central American young folks coming and being, through trafficking and exploitation. And then here there's some placement statuses. And so you'll just see that, a majority of our young people are coming from either being absent in care, so they're AWOL, or they're living in some type of regulated environment and not an actual, like there's a few that are in a foster home, but the majority of them are not in homes. And there was actually one more thing that I wanted to highlight, and that is that there is a I think I actually already said this, that there's a rise in the Latinx community that we're really seeing with the Central American population. And here's some data just from Hype Center. So this will show you kind of who we serve, what has been our, our primary services that have been utilized, and what is our demographic. And so a couple things that I want to highlight here is that we actually have 81% of our young folks are in that 18 to 24 range. So many young people are disconnected are finding Hype, and it's really beautiful to see, but it's also indicative of that they are in such need of support in our city. And so 81% are in that age range. We have 33% representing our queer community. We have over 50 young people who are also parents themselves. And we have a beautiful variety of demographic and race that come to the Hype Center. And so far, we have 613 unique individuals who have walked through our door and have become Hype members. And that's just since March of 2023. So we're very, very proud that young people are finding Hype Center. And thanks to a lot of the partners that are on this call, the way that you speak up our center and you bring young people here and you send your referrals. So thank you so much. It is definitely helping us grow. And another key piece that we do here that I think is really incredible. So the way that we're measuring our prevention, like how do we know that we're preventing anything? We do these quarterly surveys and we are tracking self-sufficiency and self-efficacy. And so each quarter, Hype members are invited to complete a virtual self-assessment. It includes 23 questions that are related to self-sufficiency and self-efficacy. And these are, like I said, key factors to, that are linked to the vulnerability to sexual exploitation. And so increasing both of them will help, prevent and lead to their liberation. And so these assessments look across risk factors like income, housing, food, food security, legal needs, resources, support, and confidence. And they're based on evidence-based tools. It's the Arizona Self-Sufficiency Matrix and the Brief Self-Efficacy Scale. And they were both adapted to be youth-friendly and youth-friendly language and really accessible. And so quarterly collection of this data allows us to see, like, point in time how our members base is growing and doing overall, and what common needs are showing up and what trends we can gather. And then we organize our scores so we can really track change over the course of each member's lifespan at height. And so it's very individualized for the member. And you'll see by our graphs here, we're very pleased to say that the majority of our young people, we are seeing an increase in both self-sufficiency and self-efficacy. And so across the board, our young people are elevating. And this is probably my favorite slide, or sorry, we're going into partnerships first and then my favorite slide. So how do you and why do we have partnerships? So our partnerships, we really believe are, San Francisco is resource rich and it's coordination poor, unfortunately, and because of that, it really means that our young people are finding a really hard time finding and accessing resources. And so our youth founders who helped completely create and launch the Hype Center, they surveyed across the city of San Francisco young people. We did a community needs assessment, and our young people identified and categorized the most wanted and needed services and supports, and the 9 categories are here on this slide. And this is an invite for anyone that is in this call and that hasn't partnered with us or would like to. This is definitely an open invitation to please get in touch with us. We have a community partners coordinator, and her name is Chanel, and it's Chanel@freedom-forward.org. So if you are interested, we would love to have you join our mission and our work. And we really do believe that the more services and resources we can have under one roof, under one safe, youth-friendly roof, the easier it's going to be for our young people to access and get the support that they need, which means we will collectively see the change that we are all working so hard to make in this city, and that we can do it together, and that we can do it in partnership, and we can do it in collaboration. We hold monthly community of practices with our providers and community partners. And in those, we learn together, we eat together, we laugh together, we share, we ensure that if there's anything bubbling up in the center, that we talk about it. And we also bring in, different practitioners, different educators, and different topics, and really allow this kind of communal and collaborative learning process across the board. So it's been a really beautiful thing to watch as we grow our partnerships, where we're at and where we're going. And so again, we have 3 different types. I do want to highlight that. So we have a weekly drop-in, we have programming, and then we have referrals. And so again, if you are interested at all in partnering with us and joining Hype, we would love to have you, and I'll make sure that I definitely leave this information for y'all. I can email it out. And here's just a quick look at who our current partners are. So I'm sure you'll see some familiar logos on the screen here. We're so proud to have partners from all over the Bay Area to join us. And we are, again, we're always looking for partners to come on board with us. And then here's my favorite slide. So this is giving you just a kind of quick glimpse, look at what do we do at Hype, who is here, the vibrancy and the livelihood of, of the center. And I actually have a little video to share with y'all, because this actually concludes my conversation, and I hope that we have time for for questions because I'm totally open for that. But I do want to share a quick little video. We did a kind of like a day in the life of, so it's about 3 minutes long, and it kind of just gives you a quick glimpse of what is Hype Center, what does it feel like to be inside, and what would a young person, have access to as they walk through our space. And so hopefully this will come through. Can you see? Yes? Thank you all so very much. I hope you enjoyed the video and that it gave you a little insight on who we are, what we do. Our space is open for everyone. We really understand the intersectionalities that lead to, the vulnerabilities that lead to exploitation. And we also understand that by opening up our center to all gender expressions and identities, that we are really hitting the prevention spectrum from all sides, both those that could be exploited and also those that could be, kind of forced into that exploiter lifestyle. And so we understand that, a lot of the times this is a passed down generational, mode of income. And we recognize that and we understand. And so we really do embrace that there is not a shame blame component of our work. We understand that, we all do what we need to do to survive, but we are at a point, I think, collectively as a globe, like I think, worldwide, we're done with this culture of just surviving. Everyone deserves to thrive, especially our young people. And it's truly, it is their birthright. And so we do believe that, as the adults in the room who have the power, the privilege, the platform to do the changing and to change the how we are delivering services, that actually is changing our systems. That is on a very micro level. It's changing how we work with our young people. So that means then we are changing the systems that have historically failed them. And so my final ask is that if you are not a current partner of Hype Center, please reach out. We would love to have you join. We would love to have you join our impact and our work. And collectively, I know we can create San Francisco to be the absolute hardest city for any young person to experience exploitation. So again, thank you all. And I'm open for questions too.
Yes, and anybody who's interested in asking any questions, please feel free to do so at this time.
I'm going to hop in. This is Pam, and thank you so much, Francesca. That was absolutely amazing. And as you can hear, I'm about to go, but thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. Safe travels. And I see some comments or I see some in the comments. Yes, we accept donations, please and thank you. We do ask though that they are either new or gently used. We do, really want to keep that sense of, dignity and integrity, and ensuring that young people feel like they are deserving and worthy of good things. And so if you do have anything that is gently used or new that you're just like, I bought this and I just don't want it, we absolutely will accept it. Cold weather is coming, so any hoodies, sweaters, jackets, things like that, we absolutely will. And all clothes, all accessories, everything. We'll also launder it so that it, is nice and new and clean. And then we hang it up with care in our boutique so that young people really do feel like they are having a shopping experience, it's been really cool to watch as young people come in and they're like, this fits me, and they get so excited and they just walk out with this like beam of like sunlight coming off their head. Like it's amazing. So yeah, we will accept donations.
I think Rebecca
I
has
see your hand, Rebecca. Hello, Queen.
Hello, Francesca. You are the bomb, and so is the Hype Center. I'm just throwing hearts the whole time that you're talking because damn, like this is really incredible. I think that so you and I have talked, we've been in the space together a lot. I think that one of my big problems is that sort of resource rich, and we're terrible at sort of coordinating and really sort of like getting the word out. So I think for me is a comment and a question. One, that's part of my comment, that I think it's a travesty if Hype Center info isn't posted in all the places where young people might be crossing a threshold or also looking for services, or that those of us that are running centers as shelters and these spaces that we're trying to create that are safe, that passing out the information. Hype should be like, it should be second, like it should be second nature, that we're like, you should be like in a day anyway. So I think I have a problem with that. So then that leads to my sort of question. What is the best? Yeah, the video is dope too, Brian. That video, I'm like, yeah, anyway, so
Thank you.
that should be shared. That should be like out there, right? Because then people that are looking, and they could see in a few minutes everything what you guys are doing. It's really, really great video. But I think that's my question then, is sort of like materials wise. Yeah, like I'm sure you can send a little like 8.5 by 11 print out that we could post. But really, like, what is the best way for us to like get the word out about Hype? And other than like at Juvie, who else is sort of like the most referral source for you? Like, where are the young people finding you? I've driven by it last week. I drove by, I was like, oh like I literally saw the door. I was like, oh my God, it's right here. Like, so I think that's also speaking to sort of like, we don't really know anyway, so what is the best way to sort of sharing out hype, you know, other than sort of like posting which that paper is really great, please send it, because we need to post it. How do we get hype out there, and where are you guys, you know, really, you know, anyways, that's the question.
Yeah. Thank you. It's such a good question. And it's, you know, when I say the term, and I think those of you that know me, I say it all the time, San Francisco's resource rich and coordination poor, that is not to blame or shame. That's just to name it. We are all doing such incredible work, hard work. And it, unfortunately, I think it just by nature kind of brings on this, like these, you know, side blinders where we're just so focused on what we're doing and trying to get it done so well, because we all have these city contracts and grants that are, you know, asking us to do all these deliverables. That it's very easy to get, you know, kind of siloed in your work. And so I think the beautiful thing about hype is that we are not competing with any organization in direct service. Y'all can come do your work, get your numbers and deliverables and objectives met. You can just do it in one safe, youth-friendly space at Hype Center. And you can do that in collaboration and in community with other organizations that are also aligned with our values, you know, of dignity, respect, and, you know, and integrity as a birthright for young folks. And so I think that's just like trying to frame that piece to really, you know, drive that point home. Our biggest point of referral has been our young people. So, I think that's also the biggest compliment is young people are telling their friends, they're saying, hey, you got to come to Hype, like you have to come. And so we'll see as one member comes, the following week, they're bringing a few friends, and then those friends are bringing a few more. And so we are getting a lot of word of mouth referral. I am desperately trying to get into SFUSD. So this is actually an ask that if anyone knows the easy way in, it was much easier whenever I was working with the YMCA of San Francisco. And so, you know, we really want to get into all of the wellness, you know, centers. We have some connection to a few wellness centers, you know, around the city, but we really want to get into every high school. So that I think is definitely one way. One of our other biggest or ways of recruitment and promotion has been through the judges, the courts, the probation, CASAs, caseworkers. You know, they're telling their young people, hey, come on, let's come over here, let's go to Hype, or go to Hype, you know, so they'll bring people, or they'll just, you know, have them come on their own. And then our partner organizations. So I think it's this type of platform that's needed so that we can help get the word out of like what we're doing and why we want to do it in community with others. And the more partners we can bring in and the more services and resources we bring in, I think the more, you know, obviously word gets out. We do have tons of, you know, collateral and swag that we are always giving away, and that we have, you know, we have young people. I love it. Every time I see a young person walking around with one of our hoodies, it just like brightens up my day. So we have all kinds of, you know, giveaways that we do. And so it's kind of more of like a grassroots, you know, style of marketing and advertising. We're a 6-person team, including myself. So we're a really small team doing this work. And so we don't have like a comms team or a, you know, marketing team or anything like that. Like it's just us. We do have an Instagram. We do have a TikTok. And so that's how we advertise a lot to our young folks. And then the only social media I'm on is LinkedIn. So I do a lot of advertising through there. But yeah, but it's about our amazing partners like yourself and like the others on this call that will just help get the word out. And I see from just the participants that are here, so many of you have already done that. You know, from, you know, the San Francisco Youth Commissioners to Dinky, you know, to you, Rebecca, like y'all have been just amazing sending young folks here. And I have tons of collateral too, like I said, so I can send that out too.
Awesome. I think Rosalina, you have your hand raised.
Hi, Francisca, Rosalina. You guys are this is my first time even being aware of who you guys are. And because I wanted to get into DV, I just finished my DV training with Black Women Revolt, and I desperately want to get into doing DV/trafficking for youth. My question, as far as advertising, as I was just listening to the other person on here, do you guys come out to community events in different communities?
Yes, we do. And I'm really glad that you asked that question. So again,
Like,
we are a small team. So it's whenever we can, we will send our team out to tabling events at schools, at other organizations, and definitely any events around the city. We actually have a quarterly neighborhood approach that we have started, and hopefully once all of this funding situation that's happening in the city, once that gets figured out, hopefully we'll be able to ramp it back up. But it was called Drip Fest, and DRIP is an acronym. It stands for Dropping Resources in Place. I do this in collaboration with an amazing Black activist and hip hop artist, Khafre J. He was the founder of Hip Hop for Change, and now he runs a social purpose corporation called Hip Hop for the Future. And together we use hip hop as a convening tool, and it's a neighborhood approach. So the first one was actually here in Potrero Hill. The second one was in the Bayview. The third was in the Fillmore at the African American Arts Cultural Complex in the Bayview. We did the Bayview Opera House. It was so dope. And we have like amazing artists that come through. We had local artists like Stunnaman and La Russell. We had Yo-Yo at the last one. So talk about like fangirl. I was like, oh my God. We had Sarat come through from the East Coast. So like it was beautiful. And then a ton of local artists. And that's how we convene people together. And then the whole purpose of it is to break down health and wellness barriers. So the whole event is catered around bringing as many resources together. And Black Women Revolt, y'all have been there, and it's been amazing to have you table with us. But we have Umoja Health that comes through. We have a dentist called Flossin for Smiles that comes through. Planned Parenthood was there. We had braiders on site. We had a ton of like health and wellness resources. And so that is one of our neighborhood approaches, where it's not just about hype. Like, yes, it's a mechanism for us to advertise like who we are and bring people in, but it's another mechanism for us to bring people together and make it easier for our community to access the amazing services and resources that we're already doing. So that's one way that we do.
Okay, so my question is, do you guys have that event every year?
So we're trying to make it so our goal is quarterly. So over the past year and a half or so, we've had 3. So again, once hopefully these funds are, unlocked,
Right.
that we will be able to, continue this, and continue getting sponsorship and things like that, because it is costly to get, all those folks together and to get the artists out. And of course, it's all free for community. Everything we do is free.
Right.
And so there is a cost behind it, but that is one way. And of course, we are always open to suggestions. So if y'all have an idea, something they're already doing, like, please get in touch, because why should any of us have to, work harder than we need to? Let's not reinvent the wheel,
And just one more thing.
Yeah.
So are you guys open to volunteering, needing volunteers when you go out to the communities? Okay,
Yes.
I just wanted to, seriously, because
Yes.
I don't mind being a part of, when you guys go out to different communities, being a one
would be
hand, an
amazing.
extra hand will help. There's just 6 of you guys, or plus any other volunteers that come along. So do I have to contact you guys for
Yeah.
a
You
form
can
or
just
something?
contact me.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll pop my my email in the chat.
okay,
We have several different opportunities for folks to get involved and volunteer. One of definitely in our boutique, hanging things and helping us like organize. If anyone has a special talent or gift, if anyone here is a practitioner of any type of alternative healing modality, like we bring in Reiki and breath work and sound healing and trauma informed yoga, like we have all these amazing resources for young folks, but we also recognize that some of our community members are practitioners of that in their own time. So please reach out if you are. That is, obviously a paid, opportunity through our organization. And so, yeah, so we're open to that. And we also do pickups at Project Glimmer for all of our hygiene and beauty products. And that's down in San Leandro. And it's like a huge warehouse full of all these goodies. And you can imagine we don't take the whole team. There's only like 2 of us going. And so that's a big like haul. So always needing extra hands, for that. So there's so many different ways to help and get involved for sure.
Thank you, Francisca. I'll be in contact with you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other questions?
Do we have time?
We have until 1 o'clock.
Okay, so Francesca, thank you for like naming that it costs a lot. So I'm just like curious about, never mind, we'll talk offline, because I'm just curious, like I know that it takes a lot to sort of like run the Hype Center, and that it is a really like hard time. So I'm gonna pivot and just, we're not gonna talk money. Well, I'm just gonna pivot. I'm curious about the CSEC, like, so a bunch of us did just take this training around, violence and the trafficking of young folks. And so I'm curious about that sort of like the engagement around that. And so like, and if you guys, like, how does like how does the justice system, when a child is impacted or has like a case, right? And how are you guys like working with them? It's just like, I'm just curious about the like logistics of working with young folks that are coming out of that or are currently, being trafficked. I mean, it's a big deal. Yeah, so I'm just curious about that. And if you have like mental health people on your team, if that's part of like the approach, and yeah, because it's a really deep.
It is. And, we also recognize our space and our lane in this work. And I think that's incredibly important. So while we do touch on all 4 pillars of reducing exploitation, I do want to be very, very clear that we are not the organization that does intervention. Those are different organizations, and one organization that absolutely everyone should know about is Huckleberry House and or Huckleberry Youth Programs, and they have their heart team. And so that again is the city's response to young people under the age of 18 who are being exploited or trafficked. And we work, hand in hand with them. We're on many different steering committees and, coalitions and, collaboratives around the city, working to help, address the different protocols in the city, to, work within the collaborative of this larger kind of continuum of care for young people who are being exploited or are survivors of exploitation. And so we're kind of one of those like mechanisms in the bigger working bubble of who supports young people. But personally, like on site, I'm very, very proud to say 5 days a week, we have drop-in mental health support. And 4 of those days are with West Coast Children's Clinic. And they are the leading agency for working with young people who have experienced exploitation or are at risk of exploitation. And so they actually are the creator of the See It tool. So I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but it is the commercial sexual exploitation identification tool. And anyone can be trained in it. West Coast does a training. And I highly recommend anyone on this call, if you're an adult, you're working with young people, please get trained in the See It tool. This is how we shed the light on the dark. If we, as the adults in the room, are equipped with the information and the identification tools to then understand what it looks like and be able to assess a young person to then make a report, then that is helping, right, our community. So again, West Coast Children's Clinic, they're based in Alameda. They're incredible. They're here with us 4 days a week. And then 3rd Street Youth Clinic came on board. And so their mental health clinician will be here also. So 5 days a week, drop in mental health. And then we also partner with Heart and Huckleberry to do very specific curricula around exploitation, both awareness and identification, and then also survivor support. And so those are just a couple of the ways that we as an organization, intentionally support and work with survivors and victims of trafficking and exploitation. But really, I want to, very much highlight that our work really is in the prevention side, where we're trying to just stop this from ever happening in the first place. But we know that, again, across the 4 pillars of reducing, that we have to have connections in every avenue. I hope that answered your question, Rebecca. And it is unfortunate. This is, I think I often, when I talk about exploitation with folks, I say, like, this is not an over there and them problem. This is an us and right here problem. It's happening in our backyard. The city of Oakland declared a state of emergency because Black girls have gone missing. Like, there is an overabundance of exploitation happening. We have 2 international airports right here. That alone, we have major conferences that are here. We have major sports teams. All of these things are pipelines, unfortunately, and I hate to use that word, but they are pipelines to exploitation. And then, remember COVID and that impact of everything going online, right? And so now you have a darker kind of like recruitment that is happening via the web, right? So via, sending pictures, asking for pictures, pretending you're someone else, right? All these things, these are deeper mechanisms that are being used more and more and more. And that we've seen an increase on, internet recruitment. So, this is a prevalent problem here in the city. It's not a 7 degrees of separation. I bet you any one of us knows within our own personal network someone who is at risk or vulnerable to or a survivor of. And exploitation shows up in many different ways. It's not what the media is always, projecting, that it's kids trapped in a cage coming across the sea. Like, yes, that happens. And it also shows up by, I'm sure you've heard the term survivor sex, right? Or survival sex. And so that is absolutely, once someone is over the age of 18, that is a choice. But when it's someone under the age, that is exploitation. Right? So if someone is exchanging sex in order to have a safe place to live, to have food in their mouth, and to have clothes on their back, that is exploitation. It is not always an exchange of money, but it's a promise of something for the exchange of sex.
Very deep, very honest. Thank you so much for sharing all of that information. Like, it's a very prevalent issue that needs to be addressed. So thank you for that. Are there any other questions that we might have? I think I personally wanted to take a moment to talk about the Cool Aunt program. That's something that you guys have, right?
Yes.
Would you mind talking about that a little bit?
Yes. So the Cool Aunt series is actually done through Heart. And it's an amazing, it's a survivor designed curriculum that really, it's like you're talking to your cool aunt, and it's like your cool aunt, Frankie or whatever. And it's like, and they're telling you and teaching you all about how exploitation shows up, but it's done through a youth friendly lens and something that is really digestible and really approachable for young people. It uses a lens of, again, no shame, no blame. So it really is this, opportunity for young people to engage in very critical conversations, but through a very, gentle, kind of low barrier lens. Again, it's led by Heart. We did have them hosting it here at Hype Center a while back, but we had to do a slight pause because I know they're doing a little bit of a reorg within their team. But as soon as they have their full team again, we'll be having their series here again. And it was amazing. We hosted, and every single time they came, we had young people signing up and joining. And it's really about spreading that awareness. And I think that's what Cool Aunt series does, is, again, it's just a curriculum that is designed through a survivor lens to really open up the discussion, so that young people start to develop the language so they can say to themselves, like, wait a minute, this relationship that I'm in actually feels a little exploitative. It feels like I'm being asked to do things that I don't want to do in exchange for, right? So it's starting to help the young person kind of think through their own life and their own situation and how this could be showing up either for them or for someone else that they love in their community.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay, I don't know, we have 3 more minutes. I don't know if it's enough time, but I would like to maybe like get a little bit of insight on like how, let me go ask I have it written down. How did Freedom Forward involve youth in the creation of the Hype Center, and how do you continue to ensure that it remains youth-centered and youth-led in a space in both decision-making and service design?
I'm so glad you asked this. So we had about 12 youth founders develop Hype Center. So again, we did a community needs assessment, and these were all young people who had lived experiences and, survivors, of exploitation or DV. And so they came together, they did this amazing community needs assessment, they gathered all the information, and then came back and informed then the co-founding executive director, Alia Whitney Johnson, and the team then. And together they built Hype. And so everything from who's in the building, how we interact, what colors are across the space, how we decorate, what's in the fridge, what, everything. So they literally informed from top to bottom and side to side what Hype is. And then how we've continued that is that we actually have a youth advisory board. And so this youth advisory board is facilitated by an outside facilitator to ensure that there is no biases coming from internal staff. And so these youth advisors will literally advise us on everything from who we're bringing in, how we're doing, the work, incorporating the feedback that we get from members to ensure that their voice is always, is always implemented into what we do. And then also to help us with our awareness campaigns and to be kind of like our street outreach, team, to really get into those youth spaces that, me as a, 40-something-year-old, woman is not gonna be appropriate. But yeah, so that's, I mean, everything we do incorporates our young people. So we're always incorporating their voice and choice.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So if you guys have like any other questions, like please feel free to reach out to Francesca. She left your email in the chat for you. And if you guys are interested in donations or partnering with her or anything like that. Thank you so much, Francesca, for your insight on all of the work that we can do to better ourselves and, to help the children in our community. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for coming. This is amazing information. So once again, thank you. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day and your week and enjoy.
This was bomb. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Please reach out. Have a wonderful day.